yeah. Jessica, can you say something for Jules? Just wish him good luck. He's one of the technical people.
Hello, everyone. I wish you good luck too. So should I say something else? I don't know.
No, this is fine.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We wish you a warm welcome live from Maastricht for the first town hall meeting of the Young Universities for the Future of Europe Alliance, YUFE. presidents, rectors, vice-chancellors, staff members already involved and staff members planning to be involved in YUFE or eager to hear more, students, we're all delighted to have you here with us today for this exciting session. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we are not able to have you physically with us here in Maastricht. But at the same time, on a positive note, this allows us to be more inclusive and have many of you join here today. My name is Jan Hupkens. I'm a Senior Policy Advisor for Internationalization at Maastricht University. And I've also been one of the initiators of the YUFE Alliance proposal, now already 2 years ago. The YUFE Town Hall is a 3-day event. Today, we'll together as a community reflect on the main achievements in year 1, engage on important topics, and look forward on the events and actions executed in the coming year. Tomorrow, we'll delve a bit more in depth to discuss how European universities and YUFE in particular impact regions and stimulate growth. This in the context of the quadruple model for cooperation which YUFE is pioneering. On the 3rd day, we'll have sessions, closed sessions of the YUFE work packages to further develop the momentum achieved already right now. For those of you who are new with us today, shortly summarized, YUFE is the top-scoring first-generation European University Alliance. It is first and foremost a community of 10 universities from all corners of Europe and 4 non-academic partners, leaders in the field of online learning and work. In its first year, YUFE has moved swiftly to generate direct impact by offering a joint educational offer in which hundreds of students are already participating all across Europe. And by launching the YUFE Academy, a training offer for staff and citizens also across Europe. Before I pass the word to Professor Dr. Martin Paul, the chair of the YUFE Alliance, I would like to raise your attention for a couple of practicalities. The first one is that the YUFE Town Hall will be streamed exclusively online via YouTube. You are warmly welcomed and also invited to participate actively in this session by typing your questions or any comments you may have in the comment section of this YouTube stream. Finally, when you engage on social media, we kindly remind you to use the hashtag YUFE Town Hall, which will also be typed into this chat on the YUFE stream, so you can make use of that right now. On my right hand, I present Dr. Daniela Trani, Director of the YUFE Alliance, and on my left side, I present Professor Dr. Martin Paul, Chair of the YUFE Alliance and President of Maastricht University. Professor Paul, may I start with you and give you the word for some opening remarks?
Thank you very much, Jan. I think we have a great program ahead of us. The only thing I regret that we can't see each other really here in Maastricht, in our lovely city, at our university. This is, of course, the consequence of COVID-19, the pandemic that is really affecting us all. On the other hand, I'm extremely proud that YUFE, our alliance, was able to really put major steps forward to achieve the milestones that we put out in our strategic plan. So the first thing I want to say is thank you to you all who have contributed to that, because we all had also to deal with major issues at our own universities and institutions. It was a bit of a stress test that brought us, I think, even closer together, where we really became friends with each other, a true community. Most appropriately, the session that starts today, it's called the Town Hall. Because I see YUFE as a community, as a town, with buildings where people live. And the nice thing about YUFE is that the door of these buildings are open. They're allowed to exchange, they're allowed to visit each other, they're allowed to share experience, and they're allowed to make plans and implement them. And as you can see, we also are able to do this using a virtual and online format. It has been my privilege to serve as chair of the YUFE Alliance, and it truly has been an incredible, I would say, trip, an incredible voyage, because as with every new initiative, and I think we all know this because we are young universities, YUFE had to really charter new waters. We started by putting together really a vision how the European university of the future should look like. A university that is inclusive, that is, as we always say, excellent but not elitist, that brings together people from all over Europe, and most of all, that brings together everybody in the community, administrators, lecturers, professors, researchers, students, and also the citizens of our communities, of our countries. And I think this is also the spirit that made us so successful in this first phase. We should maintain this spirit, because our dream is that we become a community not from universities and other organizations within Europe, but a true European university. As we will hear in the next few days, as we will share our experiences, we really can say that we achieved not everything, but most of that what we promised to do. That doesn't mean we can rest now. I think the next year or the next 2 years are equally important, maybe even more important, because now we need to build on what we have achieved with the long-term goal that we also continue this what we have built up together, and that we also be able to successfully compete for the extension of this wonderful European university. Doesn't mean that it will be easy. The pandemic is not over. The economic situation in many of our universities is not over. But as I said on another occasion, YUFE is also here to break down walls. Walls between old members and new members of the European community, walls between professors and students, walls between disciplines, and also walls between the ivory towers that we sometimes hear are still existing in universities and our communities outside our university walls. This is the challenge. So once again, not only thank you for joining us today in our television studio, and it almost feels I'm reading the next results of the football matches, you know. But also thank you for joining us in the next few days, where we really want to bring this alliance further, where we really want to chart out the new steps, where we want to listen to the members of our community, what we can do better, and where we can look positively into the future. So thanks again, and welcome here in our virtual YUFE Town Hall. And with that, I give the word back to Jan Hupkins.
Thank you, Professor Paul, for your opening remarks. We'll proceed in the following way. YUFE is a student-centered alliance. This means that students are involved in the driving seat position at all levels of the alliance. This includes the YUFE Strategic Board, the highest executive platform, which is also seeing the participation of the president of the YUFE Student Forum. It is therefore my pleasure to introduce our next speaker to open officially the YUFE Town Hall, Ms. Jessica Winter, who is a University of Bremen student, also by now a YUFE student, I would say, Jessica, and who is also the chair of the YUFE Student Forum and there with the vice chair of the YUFE Alliance. Jessica, a warm welcome, and please some opening words from your side. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jan, for the introduction. The last 12 months with YUFE, they changed my life. In 2019, when I started to get involved with YUFE, I have studied mathematics and computer science. I want to highlight one competence I have acquired during my studies, and that is problem solving. This comes in handy when you are building a European university. The co-creation of YUFE broadened my horizon. I got passionate about the community and values of YUFE. I advanced my European identity and my ambition changed. During this academic year, I swapped my study program to integrated European studies at the University of Bremen. Within the YUFE introduction offer, I was able to study at Maastricht University and started to learn Polish at the Nicolaus Copernicus University of Truro. Hopefully soon, I can call myself a student within the Diploma supplement track and will get to know even more of our partner universities. During the last month, I learned lots about the systems of higher education in Europe. We need to rethink education on the basis of students' needs. In YUFE, our students are active co-creators and visionaries who are thinking outside the box while bringing in new ideas and thoughts into our alliance. Together, as a team, and only as a team, we can be pioneers and strive to successfully change the system of higher education. To study at an European university is about more than excellent academic education. It's about European values and responsibilities as European citizens, about respectful discussions and communication on the same eye height, to counteract nationalistic tendencies visible in many European countries and worldwide. We want to connect all students, staff, organizations, and citizens of Europe within our alliance and beyond. As president of the YUFE Student Forum, I can proudly report you that we are in the process of building a flourishing network with student representatives of other European university alliances. The YUFE Student Forum successfully passed a lot of milestones on its way. We developed our own internal structures with the YUFE Student Forum board. We included and elected 2 special positions into our board, which are the External Relations Officer and the Student Participation Officer. We wrote our own governance code, and we worked on our student involvement vision for the whole alliance. We prepared the selection procedure for future Student Forum members, and we managed to include those newly selected members into our alliance during this pandemic. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone from our alliance and especially the students who have been in YUFE from the beginning, who wrote the application, who brought us here, those who accompanied me when I was new to YUFE, and everyone else I got to know later on my journey with YUFE. I hope that we will have a unique virtual event, because next year I want to celebrate together with you physically. So the last thing I have to say is happy birthday, YUFE. Thank you. Back to Jan.
Thank you, Jessica. Today is an occasion to really celebrate the first year. A year of a newly built community, a strong, solid and tightly knit community. Also a year of hard work and joint achievements to achieve the dream of truly European higher education. It is therefore on this festive moment that we symbolically would like to also celebrate this moment by presenting a YUFE cake and blowing out the candles. We invite all of you, as we are a multilingual community, to wish YUFE a happy birthday in your own native language in the comment section on the YouTube channel. Happy birthday, YUFE.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Corona
birthday.
safe candle.
So symbolically, the candles have been blown on the YUFE cake, which brings us to the next section of this town hall event. It is my pleasure to introduce once more Dr. Daniela Trani, the Managing Director of the YUFE Alliance, one of the visionary people behind this proposal, who will speak to us and walk us through the main achievements of YUFE in year 1 and give us a sneak peek ahead also on what is to come in the next year. Daniela, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jan. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here representing the YUFE Alliance together with Professor Martin Pau and Jessica Winter. We have a vision. We have a vision for a European university for everyone, a university that brings together students, staff, citizens, sectors, professionals, to build a more resilient society based on knowledge and on knowledge translation. As you heard already earlier today, YUFE was the top scoring alliance in the first call of the European Commission pilot call for European Universities Initiatives in 2019. We have been awarded funding for a pilot phase of 3 years. Our start, the start date of our project was on the 1st of December last year. So we celebrated 1 year just last week. And the implementation we ran until end of 2022. This is, however, not a standard project. This is a transformative process for our partner universities, but also for the non-associated partners that are in YUFE. As Jan Hupkens mentioned, we have 10 partner universities from 10 different countries and 4 non-academic organizations that bring valuable, unique skills and experience to our vision. We have also 15 cities represented in the alliance and many regions, and this is also key because we want to build an alliance that breaks the walls, like Professor Paul mentioned, between academia and civil society and brings them together to address European and global challenges. What we aim to do is to develop a unique model of student-centered, inclusive European university that is open to all learners to contribute to transform higher education so we can achieve even a higher societal impact. We are doing this by linking higher education institutions, the universities that are partner in YUFE, with the public and private sector and citizens in what is called the quadruple helix approach, about which you will hear even more tomorrow in our second session. Altogether, we want to shape a vision for an interconnected and excellent European education area and European research area, in line with the vision of the European Commission. So our journey started in 2018. We started to work together with all partners to develop our strategic plan that was later submitted to the European Commission, selected for funding in 2019, and then we began the official journey. So I thought we should look back at how everything started, look at some family photos from the YUFE album, and think back of May 2018, where the partners gathered for the first time at Maastricht University campus, Brussels, to sign their memorandum, their agreement to work together for a true European university. And in this picture, what you will notice is the people, is diversity. There are executives, students, and staff. This is what Professor Paul called back then an alliance of people. And this all started with the core group, and the core group has been growing and counts now about 200 students and staff that work tirelessly to go from the dream to the reality of YUFE. In this second picture, we celebrated the kickoff of our alliance this year in January in Maastricht, before the pandemic hit our continent and was not possible anymore to have large gatherings. Together with the kickoff, we also celebrated the first YUFE mayors meeting. Mayors and their representatives from all the YUFE cities participated in a meeting to discuss how we can best work together to address local challenges. And we continue and we will continue to do this with them in the upcoming years. Our alliance is based, therefore, on people, driven, passionate, with a vision, and is organized on a governance that follows our vision. A governance that puts the students at the center, as Jessica Winter said. The students are key players, also at executive, at decisional level. They are full members in the strategy board, and they have their own platform, the YUFE Student Forum, that is an essential source of ideas and proposals. I also would like to mention that what we have accomplished and what we will continue to accomplish will not be possible together with the several colleagues, staff members, executives that work on in the different areas that we have defined for our alliance. To them, I would like to say thank you for all you have done and for bringing true enthusiasm, knowledge and ideas to the YUFE table. Together we work with trust and we follow a bottom-up process that is based on engagement at all levels and on co-creations with the students in the co-lead. Mandates are defined as most clearly as possible, which means that they are also further developed as time goes by and we continue building our university. And our executive board, our strategy board, works to carry out an efficient decision making. And this is also essential. So today I would like to guide you through our first accomplishments. And I thought there was no better way to do so by sharing the visual of our roadmap 2019-2022. We are about 1/3 through the process that will take us at the end of this pilot phase. But I can say that in our journey from vision to reality, we have already delivered several milestones. What have we achieved exactly in 2020? A challenging year with the pandemic, unexpected and furious, hitting us. The year that would have been crucial for the Alliance to foster physical mobility, to gather, continue to gather, to work out the plans we had sketched. So our community having to meet online. And despite this, we have delivered what I would say extremely exciting results. Our initiative is organized in areas, and these areas are clustered under flagships. The first flagship is the YUFE student journey, one of the hearts, I would say, of our alliance. The task force that is developing, implementing the plan for the student journey has started the work with one focus area, European identity. And the amazing news is that already in summer of this year, despite the challenges of working together remotely, they have been able to shape and allow us to deliver a first introduction offer to students from YUFE universities. Almost 60 academic courses, 20 language courses were accessible to students. Although the number of students admitted to the introduction offer was relatively small, 100 in total, because we must not forget this is a pilot. So also the expectations we set have to be in proportion with what we can deliver. And being a pilot, we want to test the offers we develop so that we can improve, to then roll them out fully after the pilot phase to hopefully a larger and larger number of students. The introduction offer was the first result that we delivered, but since last week, also the YUFE Diploma supplement track has been announced, and actually applications have closed yesterday. Selection is now ongoing to allow 100 students from YUFE universities to undertake academic courses, language courses, but also activities that will foster their civic and professional skills throughout their entire study. The introduction offer indeed is limited to semester 1 of the current academic year, while the diploma supplement track will allow students to undertake courses and training throughout the entire duration of their study, starting in semester 2. Students, as I said, will not only receive academic education, but they will also experience mobility, virtually, blended, physical. They will be able to foster their civic skills, professional skills, and language skills, and all these will be visible in the YUFE Diploma supplement with the YUFE Star system. The YUFE Star system is the YUFE approach to micro-credentials, we could say, that will also allow in the future learners, more in general, to continue their lifelong learning journey, to upskill and reskill themselves during their career. And this is important because the labor market needs change very quickly nowadays. So not only for the traditional learners it is important to be able to acquire new competences, but for all citizens and professionals. Of course, during the pandemic, coming together was difficult, but also for our students across our 10 partner universities, traveling is not at the moment feasible. So it became of paramount importance to accelerate the development of what we had already presented in our proposal as the YUFE Virtual Campus. And we gave priority to the YUFE Student Portal, so we could bring Europe to the homes of our students. The virtual campus and the student portal will be an essential instrument, not only during the COVID-19 pandemic that is still ongoing, but also beyond this phase. Will facilitate and support youth educational, research and innovation, and civic engagement activities. Will connect members of the youth community, not only students, but also staff, citizens, and professionals, online. The student portal is therefore the first element of the virtual campus, and other portals will follow, as I will also mention later, in 2021. There will be portals for staff, for citizens, for innovators, that in this way will be more and more part of the youth community. This is just a visual impression of the landing page of the student portal, and even if you're not a student at our partner universities, or if you did not manage to submit your application, I would like to encourage you to visit it and to provide us with your feedback, with your impressions, because this is just our first student portal version, and we will work to improve it continuously in the coming months and years. On the student portal, our students that will be selected for the YUFE Diploma Supplement track will be able to select the academic courses, but shortly also other activities for their civic engagement and for their professional training. The student journey is not the only pumping heart, but there are several other vital organs in the Alliance, for the Alliance. One of these is, of course, the staff journey. Staff members are enablers of our European university. And the staff journey aims at providing them with the development and career opportunities that can help them, support them to flourish further. Our staff journey task force has also been able to deliver wonderful results already with the development of a staff development policy adopted across the Alliance in summer this year. The first call for a postdoc scheme was launched in November 2020 and is actually open, so I would encourage postdoctoral researchers or PhD students maybe that are close to graduation to go visit our website and discover which opportunities might be there for you. Like for the YUFE student journey, we started with the topic European identity, but several other opportunities will be coming in the next years in the other focus areas of our Alliance, namely citizens' well-being, digital societies, and sustainability. Last but not least, the staff journey has already launched staff mobility and training opportunities, which I also would invite you to discover and make use of. In the coming months, we will work to deliver the staff portal, which will be an essential tool also to disseminate these important results. Innovation in entrepreneurship is also a key element of our European University, together with the connection with the citizens, with the local communities, with the local businesses. Innovation, entrepreneurship, and YUFE in our cities are two other flagships, therefore, of the Alliance. And although I will not go too much in detail of what they have been able already to accomplish, what we have already delivered on this front, I would like to mention that for innovation and entrepreneurship, we will launch in the coming months the YUFE Challenge teams. Teams of students, staff, professionals, citizens that will work together to address challenges brought to us by individuals or communities, local communities, and that require a multidisciplinary and intersectoral expertise to be addressed. And the students will be able to acquire several different skills working in these multidisciplinary and intersectoral skills. We also have announced recently the YUFE help desks, where expertise from YUFE Alliance's staff and students will be brought to the local communities to provide knowledge in different areas, from legal to IT to many others. So in spring next year, more results will follow, and the challenge teams will be launched together with the help desks, but also a community volunteering program will be presented that will be open not only to students and staff, but to all members of our community. And of course, we plan on having portals on our virtual campus that will be dedicated to presenting these opportunities to all. Within our alliance, we also deal with horizontal topics that are of key relevance for everything we do. Diversity and inclusivity is an essential aspect of the way we work together. Our alliance aims to be the most inclusive and open alliance, and the D&I task force has had, therefore, a very challenging task to address not only thematic goals, thematic deliverables, but also to provide their expertise to the other colleagues working on the topics I have mentioned before. What we have accomplished in this area is to, of course, develop a strategy. What do we think should happen in diversity and inclusivity in our alliance? What is important? We have launched the lecture series on topics, on diversity and inclusivity topics, and we have also established a process through which the diversity and inclusivity officers, experts advise myself and all the other colleagues on how to take into account this very important aspect in our work. And the students have a key role in this, of course, as well. In the coming year, we will further develop training for members of all YUFE governance bodies. As a matter of fact, one is planned for this afternoon for the strategy board. And the D&I, the diversity and inclusivity strategy, will see its full rollout. We believe that the future is blended, not only technologically, but also culturally. And it's indispensable to take into account how different cultures, different points of view can contribute to the development of our European University in a respectful and constructive way, as Jessica mentioned earlier. Of course, in everything we do, quality is paramount. We want not only bring innovation to European higher education, but also guarantee high quality in the education that we provide our students. The YUFE Quality Task Force has developed a quality framework that is guiding the Alliance in the work we are doing, not only in education, but also in the other areas. Next year, a external quality advisory group will be established that will be composed not only of students and academics, but also of experts from other sectors and of citizens. And what I am very, very proud of is that YUFE has been one of the few testbed alliances for the UNIC project, a project funded by the European Commission to develop a framework for quality assurance of European university. So work that we do is aimed not only at developing our alliance, but also at contributing to lay the foundations for European universities in the broadest sense. Last, the management. How do we go about the management of an alliance with so many partners, with so many different national contexts, and with such an ambitious plan? We established the management office that is based in Maastricht, hosted by Maastricht University, and that I am honored to lead. We consolidated in this first year our YUFE governance and developed a first sustainability strategy that will also guide us in the coming years on how to build not only financial, but also a legal, regulatory, and cultural sustainability. Because we are a European university made of higher institutions that are research-intensive universities, we have mapped areas of expertise in research and innovation to ensure that we can deploy our expertise in the best possible way. And we have also started to build expert groups on topics such as legal entity and alumni relations. From the point of view of financial sustainability of research and innovation, the Alliance was able in 2020 to get 2 grants awarded, one for hands-on training of doctoral candidate and early career researchers, and the second, a grant from the European Commission to build the research and innovation dimension of our European university. We are very proud of what has been accomplished, but like Professor Paul said, we are very aware that much work lays ahead for us. We have a wonderful community of staff and students and of external stakeholders that feels to us more like a family. And with all of them, we will continue to build what we believe can be one of the first models of European university.
Thank you, Daniela, for walking us through the most important achievements of YUFE in year 1. I must say these are very impressive, especially taking into account that for all stakeholders involved, and you mentioned YUFE is an alliance of people, there's concrete activities already for students, for staff, for citizens. That's wonderful news and great to see. Thank you. Before we go into the Q&A, because I think many of the viewers here are very curious to know more and have more detailed questions for Daniela Trani, Martin Paul, that are with us today, I kindly remind you to post your questions in the YouTube chat so we can also pick up on these in our live discussion here. Daniela, maybe I can start with a question to you, if I may. You mentioned the process of building a European university from scratch. This, of course, is not an easy task, I can assume. Could you maybe tell us, the audience, about what some of the main challenges have been in building this truly European university from scratch? Thank you.
Well, Jan, you know, partly because we have worked together on this with Professor Paul and with other colleagues. One of the main challenges is, like I said, the cultural diversity, which is also one of the main resources of our cooperation. How do you bring so many different cultures together, so many different frameworks of higher education together? And I think what has been essential was listening to each other and always finding a point where we could meet. In our alliance, we work with what we call a single speed approach. We have different starting points. There are countries from Western Europe, Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, Southern Europe. And they all have unique assets and unique challenges. We need to talk about all this and propose solutions that can help all the partners to move forward.
Thank you, Daniela. This question also ties into a question I have for Professor Paul. Professor Paul, you are the chair of the YUFE Alliance, but also the president of Maastricht University. How does YUFE ensure that the identity of individual institutions is respected in building this European university? And is there a long-term plan of merging these institutions? Thank you.
Well, that's a complex question you're asking me. I think number one, we should not forget we also have, of course, our university identity, our university history, and our university tradition in our individual universities. We also embedded in a national context, so we cannot leave that behind, in my view. We should see, of course, YUFE as an additional idea and construct and structure where we could reach out to others. Because at the end of the day, I think the challenges in Europe are very, they really look the same for many of us, as we have seen in the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's not either or, it's and, as we say. And I think in my vision, of course, YUFE has to be an ideal structure that is 10 campuses all over Europe and people can move freely, but at the same time they will benefit from the identity of the partner universities. I mean, we can compare it, we work in university, we have the central university, we have faculties, and as you know, there's always a debate, is it the university or the faculty, but in the end it's both. So I think in the end for YUFE it will be an added value for us to be a university in Poland or in Germany or in Spain and part of a European university. This will enrich the experience of the individual university in all levels. That is a bit of my dream, at least. And I think if we really put in a lot of efforts on the way that we have now chosen, I think we also can achieve it.
Thank you, Professor Paul. I have one more question for Jessica. Jessica, you are the president of the YUFE Student Forum, and you sit together with Professor Paul in the highest decision-making platform of the Alliance. So a personal question to you, if I may. As a president of the YUFE Student Forum, you've now completed 1 year. What legacy do you hope to leave behind, being the first president of the forum for future generations of European students? If you could elaborate on this a bit, thank you.
Thank you for the question, Jan. I hope to improve the lifelong learning and living experience, not just influence their academic education, but their personal development, their career, and their European identity. And of course, their responsibility for the future of an inclusive, non-elitist European community.
Thank you, Jessica. The word inclusive has been mentioned a couple of times, so has been the team effort. Daniela, I assume also we have many viewers with us who are just starting to build their dream of a European university or are considering applying for one of the upcoming rounds. What would your advice be to newly starting or potential future European university alliances that are just now building the first bricks of their European university? What message would you give them?
I could give several different messages based on the experience we have built in the past 2 years. But I think the first one is try to think big. If you have developed your proposal, then you already have sketched your ideas. Talk to each other. Make sure that there is a shared sense of ownership with your colleagues, with your students, with the executives, because only if all partners and all members of your community feel in the driving seat, in the co-lead, then they will be able and put everything they can in the European university. So listen to the people, involve them in the process, and of course there is a core group that will grow to a few hundreds also in your case, but you also should always remember the faculties in each of your universities, all the students and the staff. Share information. Let everyone know what is happening, and let them know that if they have input, you want to hear from them, because this is a bottom-up initiative. And like Professor Paul emphasized, it can only exist because the partner universities and the partner institutions are there.
Indeed, being a university of people, people are your main asset, your main resource. There's a question from the audience I can see. For you, Jessica, the question is, how can alumni contribute to the YUFE Alliance? And will you, for example, Jessica, also be able to contribute to YUFE after your studies?
That is actually a very nice question, and one that concerns me, of course, personally. So, as a YUFE alumni, you would be, of course, a citizen of Europe too. And one of our stakeholders are the citizens. Of course, I would be able to participate in YUFE within this position. But actually, as a student forum alumni, we are at the moment working on ideas and ideas to build an alumni network. Of course, it's difficult because we don't have that much alumni right now, but it's definitively on our agenda, and I'm sure I will be connected with YUFE within my whole entire life, I hope.
That's very good to hear. And of course, as YUFE alumni, a new world of opportunities also opens for you. Whether as a doctoral student, as a staff member, or as a citizen, there are plenty of new opportunities awaiting you. Professor Paul, if I may switch to you again for a second question. YUFE is a broad alliance, 10 universities, 4 non-academic partners. How do you ensure as a chair and as a community that no institutions are left behind in this process?
Well, number one is it's not about the chair. You know, I see as a moderator and stimulator, it's really the community that needs to do it. That's why the governance structure that we have built up with the executive, with the students, with the participation of many, is really takes this decision together. I think this is also something where you can be a pioneer for, I would say, a European innovation. You know, for me, and we are all pioneers, of course, in these early days, and stay probably involved wherever we are and for long we want to be. For me, YUFE is really also a movement how universities can contribute to a better Europe. Let's face it, sometimes we have headaches about Europe, sometimes we don't like the things that happen there, and there's a lot of debates going on there also in many countries. There's criticism about Europe, but I think if we keep our course, if we really maintain this bottom-up process, where it doesn't matter whether you be a university president, a student, or somebody else, that voice will be heard. If we really can put forward this principle in our YUFE Alliance, it also will be a good model not only for other universities, but it also will be a good model for the future of Europe. And I think we participating all because we care about Europe. And so this movement idea of YUFE, where we start with 100 students here and there and some executives, is for me only the start. If we are successful, we can carry this much further and probably also contribute to a better Europe for the future. So in my view, to answer your question, it's really the role that I see for us here in central management is bringing together and creating and facilitating an atmosphere where every voice can be heard, and that we can then take decisions. As you know, the strategy board decides anonymously. We don't vote on majorities like a parliament, and we are working on the best possible way to reach consensus, which sometimes takes longer, as you know, but at the end of the day, the decisions are accepted and carried out by everyone.
Thank you.
If I may add, I completely agree with Professor Paul. And he was saying that we all care. And that's also what is important. If the students and the staff feel that what we are doing is something we believe in, also as colleagues, then working together will be even easier. And I think, and that's not a compliment I make to the Commission because they are our funder, but what has been astonishing is to see how much of a bottom-up approach with this initiative the Commission wanted to foster. And I think it has been essential to experience that our alliance, the other alliances, higher education, the higher education system, have the room to really innovate and to break the boundaries, to go out from the university walls, to build a model that can bring together also other kinds of organizations from outside academia.
Thank you, Daniela. If I can just hold on to the idea of together building the future of Europe a bit longer. I have one more question for you before I turn to the questions from the audience. And by the way, it would be nice to also have the names and maybe the nationality of the students if possible, so we can zoom it in a bit more specifically. Daniela, YUFE has been, I would say, the pioneering alliance, the top scoring alliance in the first round among the 17 selected. So in Europe, many eyes are on you when it's about European University Initiative. So not to give you feel any pressure, but my question is, the number of alliances are expanding and they're sharing a similar objective of contributing to Europe, to the future of Europe. What is your plan on cooperating with these other alliances, and how could, let's say, synergies be developed also in the future?
Well, we are, thank you, Jan. This is a very important question because it's also something I wanted to emphasize today. We are here as YUFE, but we are one of the 41 European Universities Alliances, the pilots funded by the Commission. Together with YUFE, 16 other alliances started in 2019, and we currently meet on a regular basis. We exchange experiences with the other directors, secretaries general, with the colleagues from the other alliances. And that's also how we are going forward. We are trying to learn from each other, but also to concretely build activities that can bring our communities together. So we have this forum with the first 17 alliances. The new 24 alliances have also started their forum, and we will bring them also together at some point so that we can continue learning from each other. And I think that the conversation should not stop there, because we are pioneering a concept that should be of added value to all universities in Europe. So an important step in the next phase will be, what have we developed that can also be deployed to players in the outer circle? And that's also where conversation with the universities that are not involved in other alliances and that we are continuing is essential.
There's a question by the audience on this topic by Alice, if I have it correctly. Does YUFE plan to work further with NGOs in the non-governmental sector? Could you say a bit more about this?
Well, we are eager to work more with the NGOs, citizens organizations, and actually in our alliances, in our alliance with our colleagues and students, like Jessica knows, we discuss how can we involve citizens even more. And we think that the cooperation with the NGOs and civil society organizations could be key. So if Alice has specific ideas or has interest to work with us, I would like to invite her to send me or Jessica or both an email.
Thank you. Maybe as a final question or a pre-final question for Jessica, there's a question by Frederike, who asks you about your experience in working together with the other YUFE students in the Alliance. And if I may add also one practical question on top of that. Imagine I am a student right now watching the stream, but not yet involved. How do I get involved? So the first question is, describe your experience of working with the students. And secondly, for all those students watching us right now, how can they get involved?
Thank you for the question. So regarding the first one, yes, indeed, I have worked with other YUFE students, of course. Even before the pandemic, we had physical meetings in Essex and in Cyprus, and actually in Maastricht in January too. So we had the opportunity to connect with the other student forum members. And within the pandemic, we do it now virtually. And it actually works quite well. We have selected new student forum members and we get to know each other. In calls, we do it monthly and we connect. This is the first connection I have to YUFE students. The second one is actually my participation in the YUFE introduction offer, because I'm a YUFE student in studying at the YUFE universities. So I have heard an academic course at the University of Maastricht this summer, and I actually got involved with all these students who are studying there, which included YUFE students as well as other students from the University of Maastricht and other students from abroad coming to Maastricht. So I had a quite international students experience from this very same desk. And the other one is that I have a language training in Polish language, actually, which is quite ongoing. I had it actually this morning. And there we also have many YUFE students who connect together with the aim to learn Polish, one of the language of our partner institutions. So I think that's the answer to our first question. And I also hope to connect with them more in the future within the diploma supplement track, of course. To the second question, how students can get involved. So, as Daniela and Martin already mentioned, we have just launched the diploma supplement track. Yes, the application phase is over since yesterday, but there will be a next one. This is definitely a point where you can experience the European studies experience at its best, and to make it an influence on your life and on your study program. If you want to get more behind the scenes, there are also opportunities for you, of course. The easiest would be to wait for the next selection procedure for the YUFE Student Forum, which will probably be somewhere in the next summer. The date is to be confirmed.
Thank you.
And there we select new student forum members, and you can actively work in YUFE's work packages, in the committees, and get involved and to co-create the YUFE Alliance. Thank you for both of those questions.
Thank you, Jessica. And of course, all students watching, the YUFE website, www.yufe.eu, is of course also your first source for information and contact details, so get in touch with your local coordinators. Professor Martin Paul, maybe a last question before we wrap up the session, because time is also ending. A question on the long-term support. So the European Commission is financing the European University Initiative. Could you say a bit more about the support beyond the European level?
Yeah. I think, of course, our problem is not that we are not creative. Our problem is that we are a pilot. We have limited funds. So many of the universities participating already co-financing this project. And we think we also need to reach out to the national governments and also to the European Commission to look for continuity. After so much work that is gone in, I think we really would like to expand. And we really would like also to have a better financial base to do even more things, because now we can only accept 100 students. We have many more applications. Anyway, this has to continue, but this is also the conversation we are leading. I think we're out of time. If there are any questions, they of course can be sent to us.
Yes. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Jessica, for your participation in this panel. Hereby we come to the end of today's session. I warmly invite you to tomorrow's session, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning, in which we'll discuss together with representatives from the European Commission, the Finnish Ministry of Higher Education and Science, the EDECO Group, and the Brightland Smart Services Campus here in Limburg about the impact of the European universities on the region. So we thank you all jointly for your time, your attention, and your participation, and we look forward to see you again tomorrow. Thank you.